The news about iPhone SE 2 doesn't leave internet since the moment when original SE became a hit on the market, but each year these news turn to be fake prophecies from bold content creators. Nowadays, the reasons to believe that budget iPhone will see the world are becoming reality, all leads to the fact that the new device will be called iPhone 9 and will be built on the basis of iPhone 8, which production will probably stop. Today we're gonna answer how relevant 8's model is in 2020, if the difference between iPhone 8 and 9 are just in a chipset and a couple of mAh of battery life. Should we ever hunt for a new budget iPhone? Let's remember the past and add some new thoughts, so sit comfortable and of course don't forget to share your opinion in comment section. The first and most important thing I want you to take into is that iPhone 8 is the last one of the old school kind. Its screen ratio is 16:9 with a modest diagonal of 4.7 inches and quite thick black strips above and below. The front panel has a button and on the back there is only one camera. For those who are into trends and want to seem like a cool guy in a company of the same cool guys, buying for example Mi 9T or Mi 9 Lite is much more sensible idea, isn't it? Apple is for the weakest. Xiaomi, Xiaomi. No joking this time, by the standards of the new decade, iPhone 8 looks like an almost forgotten past. On the other hand, buying such kind of a device has more nostalgic sense for me. When the phone is in the hand, something warm wakes up inside of me. Firstly, because good feelings about that smartphone are still present, and secondly, because in many aspects its design is still classic. And what is classic? Doesn't die. And also Touch ID that many users of iPhone 10 and latest models are missing about. It seems to me that there are many people willing to sacrifice a fashion for a good old Apple button. Moving on, I must say that I hate the back panel's design of the most modern phones. All those traffic lights kinda like in iPhone 10, 11 Pro Bazooka or Alien style, weird rectangular that takes nearly the half of the back panel, although having just two cameras with loads of letters of some specs or device's name. iPhone 8 stands like a pure idol without additional cameras that 99% of people are using less than ever. Let's make a little camera comparison with iPhone XS. There's just no other higher grade iPhone in our office, and besides, we didn't find significant differences between 11 Pro and XS main cameras. Neither will be when comparing these two. Picture sharpness is very close, but the depth of field at 8's model is higher despite the same aperture. This will make a bit less artistic blurring of the background while macro shooting. iPhone 8 wins up the contrast. Due to this, sometimes it seems that the dynamic range is narrow here, but in fact it is equal in both smartphones. Everything else is the work of post-processing that made different decisions regarding exposure and white balance settings. Are the vital differences we haven't found between these two. The clear weakness of iPhone 8 in front of 19 years models is the lack of night mode. If it's gonna be added to iPhone 9, it will be a strong reason for buying it, even despite the rumors that the camera will remain the same. Video comes out in 4K with 60 FPS and software stabilization. At one time, iPhone 8 was the most affordable smartphone that served all that. If the smoothness in the clips feels weak during the walk, this is treated by switching to 30 FPS. For overall quality, I have no complaints. The videos look almost the same as those shot on XS, which is good even by today's standards. The front camera in iPhone 8 is weak both regarding the viewing angle and the quality of what fits into it. As for dynamic range and picture clarity, it bows down to XS, which by the way is also not a gift in terms of selfies. The same story, unless the front camera is pumped up, which is most likely to happen, iPhone 9 will certainly fall behind its more expensive brothers. Speaking of hardware, iPhone 8 is built on Apple A11 Bionic chipset that, despite the age, is still on a horse. It shows excellent results in benchmark tests. By now, the phone is not afraid of any tasks and will remain so surely for more than 1 year, especially if you're not a gamer or just do not tend to run everything on top-end graphics. Regular daily tasks will be a piece of cake for iPhone 8 for a very long time. If the 9th model gets an update to A12 or even 13 Gen chip, this will be awesome by default. Regarding the battery life, let's remember sad news. iPhone 8 has 1821 mAh battery that, when used gently on iOS 13.3.1, is barely enough for me until I get out of work. And we are talking about a new smartphone out of the box. Imagine what awaits us in 1 year, an almost round-the-clock symbiosis with power bank, without which the battery will last until lunchtime. time. For comparing, my colleague's iPhone XS that he abused for a year and a half often lasts for a day, although he doesn't really care about its battery. Let's say I'm okay if Apple gets rid of 3D Touch in 9th model for the sake of amping up the battery life and stop pursuing people from buying expensive cases with extra charging. What definitely cannot be taken away from iPhone 8 is an IPS screen, which still I can call one of the best in its class. It certainly bears no complaints and is as good as the technology allows it to be. For instance, as for me, 10Rs and 11's IPS screens are losing in colors and viewing angles, and that would be nice if Americans install the one from iPhone 8 to the future iPhone 9. Summarizing the stuff, I'd like to start from the prices. I understand that iPhone 8 won't stand near iPhone 9 cost upon its release, and there are high chances that when the new model arrives, retailers will set iPhone 8 prices lower. That will make it an even stronger deal breaker. In that case, get ready to face not trendy style and constant charger near the phone. In all other regards, the hardware is still nifty. There is liquid protection, NFC, wireless charging, and even a headphone jack. No, just kidding and checking that you're still with me. Of course without mini jack, but it would be a miracle if 9th model gets it. Don't you agree? So this is it for today, and if you like this video, then why not to support our channel by subscribing to it, hitting the like button and ringing the bell to stay tuned for more cool content. My thanks for watching and cheers!